Hi folks, this is just a quick augmented reality tour giving you a sense of what the developer Vrancor is planning next for the Strathcona neighborhood. And what's next is this development right here, these 4 towers sitting on that podium that is bounded by Napier Market, Queen in the back there, and behind the homes on Ray Street. But before we get into that, I just want to bring you up to speed a bit on what's happening over here. These blocks represent the hotel development that I'm sure you're aware Vrancor is building at King and Queen. They have permission to build a 12-story hotel. They got that from planning a few months back. They have permission to build a 6-story residence here. They want to build a 25-story residence. And that is in front of the Ontario Land Tribunal, and the hearing is going to take place in June, and we have participant status at that meeting, and we'll keep you up to speed on this development. The next phase of the development they want to do is across the road over here, as I said, in this block, and these are 4 towers sitting on this podium that they want to develop. So I just want to talk a little bit about what they have plans. So in these 2 towers, these are residential towers. The one on the left here is going to have 200 units. The one on the right is going to have 239 units. Up front here, these are 15-story towers, and this unit over here, or this development here, is going to have 80 units. This tower over here is going to have 119 units. In addition, they want to put in 9 townhouses down here along Market, and unfortunately they're probably going to be as ugly as the ones that they're developing now on Market Street over here. And then over here, straddling these 2 towers is going to be a 7-story residence that's supposed to be a senior residence that's sitting on top of 3 stories of retail. So that's sort of the units that they're going to be building. They're also going to be planning on putting 309 parking spots underneath here inside this podium. And the thing to keep in mind about these units, and something that has us concerned, is that none of these units seem to be designed for families. As far as we can tell, none are affordable. So that really doesn't address the need for affordable housing in Hamilton and family housing in Hamilton and in the Strathcona neighborhood. So that's disappointing. And speaking of disappointing, it's important to point out that the Strathcona Shadow Dwellers aren't against development in Hamilton or even development in Strathcona, but it needs to be development that is responsive to the needs of the city and the needs of the community in a way that is also responsive to contemporary thinking about how you can achieve density in the downtown area and in other neighborhoods without building these kinds of massive towers that really don't address the affordable housing shortages, the family housing shortages, and the need for amenities in the community, which we'll talk about more in a minute. So I just want to also give you a sense of the size and mass of these things. So if we come back here, so now maybe we're at Victoria Park or a little further into the community, you can see that the skyline is really punctuated by these fingers that stick up out of the earth. It's almost of a wall. And if we come around here past King Street and look at this from downtown, you can really see that it really creates a solid wall that sort of separates our community from downtown in not a very healthy way. So I'm just going to come around on Peter Street here. That's Queen 75, by the way, to give you a sense of how tall these towers are. And just take a look at the development all around here and really get a sense of the scale and the disparity between the 1 and 2 story homes here and these 27 and 15 story towers. Now you might be looking at this now and thinking, well, at least there's a lot of green space. This is going to be like being able to walk through the Good Shepherd development with that green space. Well, not really, because this green space here is really 3 stories up. And as far as we know, it's not accessible by the public. And then there's additional green space here that is 7 stories up above the seniors unit. And we don't actually know if this is going to be built. This is what's being proposed, but anything could happen between now and when it's built. In fact, the only green space that's available that's publicly available is this 12-meter strip that's supposed to run from Market Street to Napier. And unfortunately, that's going to be between a 3-story, what looks like a concrete wall, and the back gardens of the homes on Ray Street. And that's about the only real green that we're going to be able to see as members of the public. There's a thin green space around the development, but really the development goes curb to curb, and it's just a massive concrete development. One of the other things that we're concerned about here is the shadows from these developments, these 27-story and 15-story tall towers. And they're really going to have an impact of shadows down here along Napier and certainly in the backyard here. We also have concerns about the traffic that's going to be created, and it's clear from the reports that Vrancor has commissioned that they too are stating that there's going to be some traffic issues. So that's sort of a quick overview of what they're proposing. We're going to take a very careful look at it. We want to try to make this development as suitable to the community and as fit in as well with the community as possible, and also to provide some benefits to the community and amenities that the actual community can use, rather than just coming into the neighborhood and expecting a lot from the neighborhood. Keep in mind that in order to build this kind of size, given the Strathcona Community Secondary Plan, they have to change zoning. They're going to want the city to change bylaws. They're going to want the city to change the parking requirements for the space so they can get away with as little parking as possible. They want to match the downtown parking. And so that's going to be, they're expecting a lot from the city, a lot from the neighborhood, a lot of concessions, and we should have our own sense of what we want from them. So it's not a one-way street that they get everything they want. We want to have a development that we get something out of as a community, and not just have it as a wall separating us from the downtown. So that's just a quick overview of what Vrancor is proposing. This is very early days. There's going to be public meetings. I hope that you will pay attention to what's happening on the development. Read the plans if you have a chance. There's going to be a link below that you can follow to get to the actual plan showing this. And voice your concern or voice your issues or voice your ideas for what this development could be to make it fit not just with the developer's needs, but to develop the needs of the whole community. So thanks very much for watching this. This is the Strathcona Shadow Dwellers video, and I hope you've enjoyed it and hope you found it useful and make you understand what may be coming to our community a little bit better. Thanks very much.